One upward. Yep. One upward.
Yeah, it's just too slow, do you see? Because you spent that time to hold from the box and wait out the trip, you cannot defuse anymore. It's impossible.
Oh.
You should hold wider, like over. I predict that if your crosshair was here, you would have killed them. Literally exactly when you react to the guy. It's the width that I would have been at. This actually is rare piece of advice that you actually can just listen to, regardless of the rank of the VOD. Everyone listening right now can remember this. I'd say if you're below Radiant, you make this mistake. If you're above Radiant, I'd be surprised if you still make this mistake because it's actually so important. And it's exactly why we didn't kill Chamber in that 1v1. Or at least didn't have a good shot on him. And so the mistake is essentially that you develop muscle memory for always having to aim away from the corner when you get peeked. So what'll happen is, let's say you hold a corner like this and you'll get peeked and you'll always move to the right to try and shoot them because you almost always get over peeked. And so what happens is the rare cases where you do hold the right width, like let's say you're holding here and they peek right onto your crosshair, well then you'll miss anyways because you'll move to the left a bit to try and shoot them, like subconsciously, because you're used to always having to aim away from the corner. So this is a really bad habit. Like, it's terribly bad. And the reason why you have this habit is because you hold too close and you're used to almost always having to click away. You need to hold further than you're comfortable holding. Like if you recall this scenario where I was like, oh, you should have your crosshair here. I bet a lot of you in chat, like lower rated players, were like, that's too wide. Like that's too wide. And I'm out here like, this is perfectly wide. This is exactly wide enough. And sure enough, by the time Pixel reacted, their head was like exactly there. It was dead on. Going to explain why it's better if they peek too tight than if they over peek your crosshair. Because there's 3 scenarios that can happen. Okay. So scenario 1 is they peek right on your crosshair. Their head comes here. So in scenario 1, as long as you have good technique, it's lit. It's super lit. Okay. So actually, I'm going to color scenario 1 in green. Okay, to make it clear that this is like what you want. Scenario 1 is good. And now there's 2 worse cases. There is scenario 2, which I'm going to use yellow for, and then scenario 3, which I'm going to use red for. So why is scenario 3 the worst? It's because in scenario 3, your opponent has infinite range to keep going this way, and your crosshair may never catch them. Okay, they could keep running wider and wider, and you've got to like track them. And it's really difficult. So the potential range at which you have to aim is all the way over to this wall in scenario 3. So it's this huge box. It's a problem. In scenario 2, you'll notice that if they try to run away from you, well, that's fine because now they're off your screen. So scenario 2, while it is worse than scenario 1, of course, you'd rather one tap them. Between scenario 3 and 2, which would you rather have? 2. 2 is the lesser of the 2 evils, which is why it's generally better to favor your crosshair being wider from the corner than you feel comfortable with, because it's going to increase the amount of times you get scenario 2 as opposed to scenario 3. Because in scenario 3, we've all been there. Your crosshair will be here when their head is here. Okay. You'll start moving your crosshair over, but by the time your crosshair gets to the center there, you know where their head will be. It'll be over here. And now your crosshair's over here. And you're like, oh shit. You start tracking them this way, but now their head's over here. Your crosshair's here and you're lagging behind. And then you get one tapped and you never catch up to them because it's impossible, because there's latency in the human brain. The reason why you can never catch up to them unless you're like super trained at tracking, and even then you're going to lag behind, like the best trackers in the world lag behind, is because we don't have 0 ms reaction speed. So by the time your brain registers you're not caught up to them, then they're already even further. And so you're lagging behind and lagging behind and lagging behind. This happens to everybody, even the best aimers in the world, which is why it's generally better to want to shoot them in this region where they can't do that to you. Got it?
Did you know only 420% of the people who watch my videos could actually receive free VOD reviews?
Really?
It's true!
Even me?
Absolutely!
Wow! I'm going to join the Discord to learn how. Then show up to a VOD review stream to get some of that potassium wisdom no scope right to my brain.
And that's not all. I'm also offering free Valorant gift cards to anyone who makes successful improvement based on my coaching, made possible by the support of the Generous Knowers Guild on Discord.
So what are you waiting for? Hit us up.
And enjoy the video.
Pixel! Let's take a look, Pixel.
Hello, healing.
Can't do
D5 step,
anything.
D5 step.
Last player standing.
Step 55.
Okay. You sort of have to go. This is hard to explain. Holding that angle is good if they're bad, you know what I'm saying? But you're immortal, trying to hit Radiant. They shouldn't peek you there alone. If they're gonna peek, they're gonna like double swing you. And at that point, if they double swing you, you've already lost anyways, unless you're just him. So you kind of just got to expect them to be playing some cross right here, which is why I wouldn't flash. I would like pre-fire.
1-3-1-3.
Holding mid.
You're holding too tight again. Your angle is too off. If you hit this shot and they peek you this tight, I will eat my words. Okay, we'll watch first.
I'm sorry.
Damn, you got smoked. The odds that they're gonna peek onto our crosshair and stop, I'm gonna say 20%. And the odds they peek past it, I'm gonna say 80%. And the odds that they peek to the left of it, I'm gonna say practically 0%. Right? Like we could call it 1%, and we'll change this to 19. So this is scenario 2, 1, and 3. So you can see right now your most likely scenario is scenario 3, which is bad. So if you just put your crosshair here instead, now let's say it's still 20% that they peek onto it. I want to show you that this isn't the part that matters. We'll say the odds that they peek on this side now is heckin' 50%, and the odds we get scenario 3 is 30%. So even if our odds of getting the one tap go unchanged, now we're much happier because 70% of the time, they're not running past our crosshair in an annoying way. Okay? Does that make sense? So we're not specifically aiming wider because it's going to net us more headshots. We're aiming wider because it's going to net us less scenarios where they run past our crosshair. And of course, there is a trade-off because I would never recommend that you hold your crosshair over here for this guy. That's too far because now you'll never get a scenario 1, which is bad as well. You want to hold so far that you're reasonably confident you're going to catch them. Okay, perfect. You're making the same mistake again. It's the same mistake. I hope they peek tree.
They're breaking. No, going B. Just coming C.
Bro, TP out. What the f?
Coming mid. Just coming C.
Oh my god. You also see the effect I was just describing, by the way.
Coming mid. Just coming C.
So what you want to do here, the moment you recognize she's running this way, this is only true in low time to kill games, okay? I've played Apex, I've played Overwatch. I'm not that good at them, but I know people who are fabulously good at them, and I know that this advice does not apply in those games. So in tactical shooters, where a single bullet is going to kill this guy, you want to flick past this Reyna to bring her into your box. Does that make sense? Because now as you move your crosshair left, there's going to be a point where her head intercepts you, and you have good odds of getting the kill. While in like Overwatch or Apex, it's better to actually get on target and track them because you need tons of time on target to kill. In Valorant, you need a singular bullet. You only need one. And to get one shot on this Reyna as fast as possible, you want to aim over here and just like spray. I really want to see you holding an angle again. Yep, this is also too tight. Yep, this is also too tight. This is actually good, but not for the reason you may think. This one's good because they're going to be shift walking if they come into this crosshair, so they're not going to run past you.
Careful, they get Omen not.
Yeah, like look how tight you are right now. No, it's hold angles wire. I genuinely think I'm going to give this individual gunfight technique.
There's still two.
Notes, yes.
Oh fuck, my bad.
You gotta learn to TP out. You gotta learn to TP out. Going for 2 is just like you're just trying to hit a clip for no reason. Holy shit, finally.
Last player.
Wow, you actually got tight peaks. It's because you have angle disadvantage. One bullet. There. Thank you. Finally. Holy shit. I had to skip 9 rounds to find a second example of your ass getting peeked from the angle you're holding, to show you that on average you're holding too tight. Okay. And this is causing you to almost always have to do these like micro adjustments wider. Let me pull up a scream VOD. Look how wide he is. You see, he's closer to this side than he is to this side. Scream hits so many one taps because he has a good intuition for his crosshair distance from the corners. It's really hard to explain why sometimes he'll be tight and sometimes he'll be wide. So here he's tight because he's shifting with huge angle advantage and he thinks the breach might be holding him.
You should run. Spike planted.
Look, look, look.
You should run. Spike planted.
Do you see where our crosshair is? It's 2 harbors like wide. And now here, do you know why it's tight? You know why he comes tight for this jet? It's because she's gonna refrag us, so she's gonna peek tight. Okay. God, it's actually like crazy. They're magnetized, dude. Bro. He knows like how far this dude's gonna swing before he's even done swinging.
One enemy remaining. Spike planted. You will not kill my ally.
Oops.
One enemy remaining.
God, he's so good. I really hope they peek you. Okay? Because now it should be blatantly obvious what you're doing wrong here. Yeah. So like, put it here. So maybe even wider because you're not in an on angle. Okay. The only time I want to see you holding tight is when you're in an on angle. Put yourself in this guy's shoes. If they're going to peek, they'll peek this corner here. Okay. So let me just quickly penguin, because you're here. You're like out. You're not back here. Back here, the penguin is tight. The penguin's right above this mark in the wall. I'll shoot it. But if you come up here, look where that mark is now. You see how suspiciously far to the left that mark just got? As opposed to back here in the corner where the mark is close. You're up here, the mark is out here. And that's how wide this dude has to get to peek this corner. Look, if they stop at this depth, I'll be shook. Oh, man.
One enemy remaining.
Nice spray.
Nice.
You're actually better. You're like so much better.
What? No noise so much.
I genuinely think the biggest thing that separates you from the hecking Radiance in your region is these gunfights. I'm not gonna lie. Which is crazy.
Let's go.
It's very rare
One flip on B. One flip on B.
that I say that.
Flash and flash.
Going back. No going back.
They open the door. They open the door.
Spike down.
Come back.
Got the spike.
Chamber, you hold the door.
Yeah.
And so his pop flashes could be better. Really? I think they're effective.
Above.
One enemy remaining.
Nice.
One main.
Yeah, like your aim is deadly. Your technique is not. Like you just saw the Scream VOD. You know how he's taking this fight? So first of all, unswinging, if you saw my YouTube video today, is incorrect because they're not looking at you. Like you're peeking, this dude's not even looking at you. It's a free kill. You could literally just plant your feet and click this dude's head. But next, you come back out and why are you spraying? What are you doing?
One main.
But notice, okay. You know when you like get to high elo and you start getting laid out instantly? A bad habit can form where you feel like you have to aim faster and you just start flicking and immediately craft spraying. Don't do that. You have to accept that fights when you get really high elo are actually 50-50. Like everyone's cracked. Scream knows his technique is good. He's not gonna let like 4 deaths in a row cause his aim to deteriorate. He's not gonna go, oh well, I've got to aim faster. These guys are cracked. You think Scream's gonna do that? Hell no. Scream trusts his technique. Speaking of, bro got shook here. I wish we could find a long range engagement this VOD. Maybe we have to go back to the Lotus one. Oh, here we go. You can see at this range, he's just tapping and he's already looking to move between shots. Maybe a mid-range fight, Scream? Oh, you piece. You piece!
Just spawn, just spawn. What the fuck? I didn't know.
Yeah, this is a positioning error. Like, you should be TPing elbow, yeah? Mistakes like that are pretty normal, especially on newer maps. But if you make a mistake like that more than like 3-4 times, then you should really like write it down. It's not something that I would tell you to focus on, like, oh, don't die to waterfall on top site C. But if this is like a recurring theme in your other games, you have to somehow come up with a way to stop dying to that. With YORU TP, it's easy. You TP out. Otherwise, you can finesse the pillar to fight water. Like if you put yourselves in the shoes of the guy retaking from water, I'm sure you've been there, where it's actually really awkward to fight this guy top side. Like if you're here, it actually really sucks when they peek you up here. You know what I'm talking about? Because you're very rarely just staring up there. So if you're just here and you just count to like an arbitrary number and you peek out, like if you don't have your TP, it's actually quite good. Because you can just like jiggle some shots, tuck again. It's going to slow them down a lot because they can't spam you unless you're playing against a hacking pro team and they've got 1 guardian. But that's not normal on in solo queue.
I'll handle this.
Okay, why is this guy stunning before us?
He's standing flat.
Match
I should
point.
take fast B main control. Just the Omen, you stand flat. Let me just try to I'm ulting immediately.
Pixel, what the f?
No, flash B main. Actually, no, you save the flash for side. The breach you just stun.
You're calling the breach stun. Why? What do you mean this breach? Pixel literally just said breach stun. Pixel called it. You guys are blaming the breach? What are you talking about? Pixel asked for this stun. I can't believe you're throwing breach under the bus here.
B main running back. Jacko B main.
Oh man, and now the stun expires. Well, what the fuck? Okay, it works. You're better.
One ceiling.
What to do?
Enemy C.
There's one door.
One heaven.
Why are you staring at a door? There's a sound cue if they break this.
Spike down B.
Thank you.
Fake teleport. Cutting through.
One.
Oh,
Couple.
One more ceiling. Come back, bitch. Come back.
Wait, Kim.
She take heaven. Okay. Me and Jay will have heaven.
You're holding too tight.
Concussing.
Jay, you watch beyond me. Because there's something here.
Yeah, safe.
I don't know that time.
One enemy remaining.
Oh my god, I guess. Come back.
Enemy spotted.
Anyway. Fuck, I can't help you. I got them.
Your C-hole's really messy. Let's see, where were you? Yeah, I'm not sure about this TP location. Is this supposed to be here? I'm just thinking this is where you want to be to play some Heck and Flash. I don't know a good one, but I'm sure there's a good one. Because you can peek the whole lane off of the flash. When you're over here, like, I don't really see how you're going to get much value. And so you ain't getting a TP there. Yeah, I agree. So I'm wondering what's up with the pacing.
Look where, yeah?
Because Jekka's info C.
Look where, Jay. Fall back. Come see.
Yeah, it's just slow. Like, look. Our Jet's already taken an op shot and she's getting flashed. If you TP right now,
Fall back. Come see.
you have 3 extra seconds.
One lucky in your chamber.
Cutting through.
So, like right now it'd be 1:33 on the clock where you'd be here. Yeah, you actually would have had time. That's why.
Enemy spotted.
That's why we're not there.
Anyway. Fuck, I can't help you. I got them.
And now we're like, what can you do?
I'm flashing out, flashing out.
He's up on the door, he's up on the door, he's up on the door.
Oh my god. Really? I'm not sure I agree entering B here. Like chamber takes a shot, falls back, pushing through a tiny choke. I'd probably open door to fight this guy who's stuck out in the open.
I'm flashing out, flashing out.
He's up on the door, he's up on the door,
That's
he's up on the door.
unfortunate.
Right up.
Player standing.
That's your bad. Like, is the duelist job to choose when it's good to hit? And that shit was not good to hit at all in that scenario. Like, that was a really bad timing window to hit. You felt pressured, I think, because it's 4v5, but we should not have pushed. You've got deadly aim. You have bad technique. I'm not surprised your KD's 1.14, but it should be better. And then your like mid-round comms of teammate utility is trash. Points. We're gonna call it attack / retakes. Mid-rounding of teammate utility to take base is really weak. Much more vocal about how the hit will be coordinated. Crosshair placement plus to gunfight technique is holding your aim back. You generally hold too tight to angles. You are too passive. Should almost always take every single 60-40 plus offered to you without question. Commit to instant sprays too often. I hope this makes sense. You're actually cracked, but you're going to lose so many gunfights with this technique, regardless of how cracked you are. So I actually think you're going to get hella value if you can fix this. And you do need to clean this up on the attacks and retakes as well. But it's like almost less important. I'm not going to lie. There actually is something wrong with like your gunfights. Like if you took this into Radiant, you're going to get laid the hell out. And it's not because of your aim. Thank you for the VOD.